I don't mean to imply that I'm the only one who sees these things. I think it's fairly common knowledge that these are repetitive themes in the scripture. I think there's people who see this as a plan of salvation. I intend to show that there are people other than me that see this. But I have looked around enough to know that this is a shift for a lot of people. That's why I'm doing all these videos, is because the shifts are hard, especially when it comes to the plan of salvation. I have written many things and sent them into peer review, and I take a lot of the blame because I just come across as dogmatic, and it hits them hard, it upsets them, and it's not a good experience because they write back and say you're way out of line. You think you're the only one who ever has any insights, and you think you're the only one who sees these things. And I try to make it really clear that the prophets have talked a lot about this, but it comes across as like, I think I'm somebody. Elder Nelson recently in a book by Sherry Dew says a lot of times the Lord will do things through nobodies, and I think that's where I am. I don't think I'm anyone significant, but I did have a great teacher that showed me something, and it ends up being a really good tool. I've had reviewers, I've said the millennium will help prepare us to become like God. And reviewers say, you don't know how far out of line you are in saying that. And I'm like, number one, I'm not out of line, and number two, that's my point, is that if a peer reviewer says, well, that's out of line, then we don't see the millennium as preparing us for the second coming, for the exaltation, then there's a need. I argue that basketball rims in our chapels help us become more like God. For heaven's sakes, being taught by Christ for 2 days could help you become more like God. Can't be wrong on that, but it's more indicative of people just having a new thought, and how dare someone come along and do that. And I hope the videos convey that I'm not a raving lunatic and that I have something here. But I did get this cleared through correlation a number of times. I have a lot of teachers that I coordinate, and I don't want them to hesitate to use these things. I've talked to the leaders of correlation, I've talked to the leaders of curriculum, and they're like, we have no problem with you teaching this. But I've also officially got this cleared as well. And I think it was 1998, I wrote for Sperry Symposium and put a chapter in there. And they have to have some kind of checking to see that it's true with doctrine. I think we're okay there. I one time wrote for a BYU symposium. I submitted to do a workshop on Jeremiah. And I had all these things in here saying these things are part of the plan of salvation. And they sent me a letter saying, your handout, it was a handout that I had put all that in. And it's, your handout has been cleared through correlation. This is really okay. This on the board right here. This is in my website. You can find the reference as well, but it's in the Presidents of the Church Religion 345 Instructor's Guide, page 1979. I am saying nothing more than that. And that, I believe, went through some kind of correlation. I don't think anybody will disagree with that. This is just trying to draw that. This is the church right here. As the church gathers, we have gatherers here, the missionaries. Church helps sanctify us, so it ties us to the atonement through the ordinances of the gospel. It helps prepare us for the glory of Zion. Zion prepares us for the second coming, prepares us for the millennial reign of Jesus Christ. The millennium prepares us for exaltation, and when Christ teaches us and prepares us, and then it leads to exaltation. This is all okay. This is all right, especially when Elder Clark came out and said include our church in our discussions and depictions of the plan. Really, I don't think I've done everything I could to make sure I'm not out of line. Again, I apologize for those who do teach these things. I don't think I'm unique in that. But I have looked around for a long time. I've looked at all the charts the teachers put up and stuff, and a lot of times there's some things that are missing that aren't missing here. This is good enough, and this I had drawn. Either way, it teaches that common theme of Scripture of how God is going to save the world. Thank you.